Welcome to Black and Gold Today, a game day look at your Pittsburgh Steelers. Now here are your hosts, Jay Pushkar and Mike Finner.
Hi, and welcome to the regular season premiere of Black and Gold Today. I'm Jay Pushkar alongside Mike Fenner. And Mike, the Pittsburgh Steelers certainly have had a new fresh look on and off the field to start 2022.
In many ways, Jay. It felt normal again with off-season workouts, of course, training camp returning to Latrobe at St. Vincent. But like you said, plenty of new faces on the coaching staff and 53-man roster.
And we'll have a look back at what the last 2 months have been like for the Steelers. Plus, we'll dive into our Week 1 preview versus Cincinnati. But here's what's coming up on the show. Lot to get to. We'll revisit St. Vincent College and the 3 weeks of training camp that was held on campus and the excitement of fans returning to watch. Then there were plenty of changes going on behind the scenes, including a new stadium name in which Pittsburgh calls home. Plus, we'll preview the Steelers-Bengals Week 1 matchup, a special fans feature, and what Jess has cooking in the kitchen. All that and more coming up on Black and Gold Today. We begin with a look back, and for the first time in nearly 2 years, the Pittsburgh Steelers returning to St. Vincent College and conducting 3 weeks of training camp in Latrobe. Not only did the players and coaches enjoy making the return, but the fans of Steeler Nation came out in full force. On a night when the Black and Gold were scheduled to practice under the lights, not even a thunderstorm could spoil the enthusiasm of what it meant to everyone for having the Steelers return to a traditional training camp in Latrobe.
I mean, my favorite thing is just the community, like all the Steeler fans, you know, it's just like brings everybody together, wearing black and gold, cheering for the same thing. I love that. I got to wear my Steelers sneaks, and, you know, this is my training camp shirt. I've been wearing it to Latrobe every year that I've been here for like 16, 17 years. So, yeah, that's it. And my hard hat, you know, in case something falls from the sky.
Oh, it means the world, definitely. I mean, we were just talking and brings us back to, like, I know when we played high school, you know what I mean? But that's what it's all about. But, yeah, it means a lot, definitely.
You come up here, you get to bond with your team, you get to get up close with you guys, up close with the fans, and it's, you know, one of those sacred places that will never go away.
I think just the opportunity. This is the first time, this is my 6th year in the league, but this is my first time ever being away from the facility or any kind of training camp that's not in the facility, so I'm pretty excited for the opportunity.
We have to remember that we're living our dreams. This is the best job in the world. This is what we dreamed of as kids. So don't think for a second that you're better than Latrobe, because you're not.
Once the dust cleared with weeks of practices, team meetings, and 3 preseason games in which they went 3-0, here's how the 53-man roster shapes up for the Steelers going into this season. And we'll start with the quarterbacks and then some with the offense, and Mitch Trubisky getting the #1 start for this team. And Mike, what stands out for you with this roster, at least offensively?
Clearly the new look at quarterback. You've got Ben Roethlisberger out the door and 3 new guys in the mix. You're talking about Mitch Trubisky, an offseason acquisition from Buffalo, a guy that was once a starter against the Saints in a playoff game last for Chicago, the Bears in 2021. It's been a long time since Trubisky's been a starter. He now has the chance to do that again. Kenny Pickett, a first-round pick out of Pitt, obviously a fan favorite, and Mason Rudolph, the guy that's been there the last few years. So the quarterbacks obviously stand out a bunch on this offense, but I think it's going to come down to this offensive line being retooled and see what they can do up front.
Yeah, and then we'll take a look at the defensive side of the ball and special teams. And Mike, there were some big-name players that started to get paid up front as well, and it was well-deserved.
Yeah, you're talking about T.J. Watt, guys like that on this defensive front that make such a big impact. Obviously, you lean on a guy like Cam Hayward that's been a team captain for such a long time. And these guys have earned every dime and every dollar, because up front, they've got so much impact from that linebacker spot, the defensive line. They're going to create havoc. And of course, it's Blitzburg. It's all about getting after the quarterback, and that's what sets the tone for this defense. Especially, that's going to be important to start the season for Pittsburgh.
And Minkah Fitzpatrick staying long-term as well.
And the back end, huge.
They're making sure that they shore up this defense for years to come, and they're young, athletic, and they're talented.
That's right.
And if the offense starts to slow a little bit out of the gates, this defense is what's going to help them throughout the course of the 2022 regular season. A lot of interesting names, a lot of guys that were battling, and of course there's some old reliables as well when it comes to special teams. Chris Boswell having a great preseason. In fact, he was in mid-season form going into 2022. Now, back in July, the franchise declared that the Steelers' home field will be named Acrisure Stadium beginning then and now for the next 15 years. Many from the Black and Gold Nation were taken back by the name change. That included former players and fans. According to team president Art Rooney II, this partnership made the most sense despite the Acrisure name being based in Michigan.
No, I don't think we're going to discuss the financial terms. It's a 15-year deal, and we're certainly pleased with where we are. All I can say is that I think it brings us into a more competitive range with other stadiums around the country, and so that really was the goal, is to try and be able to be in a more competitive situation with our peers.
My opinion is, as long as the Steelers win, they can name the stadium whatever they want to name it.
Maybe they'll name it Lenny Stadium. Who knows? There's a petition going on right now. Coming up next on Black and Gold Today, we'll have you ready for Week 1 in that divisional matchup against the defending AFC champion Cincinnati Bengals.
Stay with us here on Black and Gold Today.
Welcome back to the show. In his first regular season press conference of the year, Steelers head coach Mike Tomlin addressed several topics, including naming their #1 starting quarterback for Week 1 and a copy and paste error involving their depth chart. We welcome our newest member of the Black and Gold Today, correspondent Ashley Kaiser, as she has more from the Steel City.
It's Week 1 of the NFL season, and the Steelers head to Cincinnati for their game on Sunday. According to Coach Mike Tomlin, taking care of the football is key to winning games on the road against the Bengals. Tomlin says it's time to find their footing, and his focus is on fundamentals and good communication.
We're hardening up our plan as we speak. We're talking specifically about divisional labor, who does what.
Tomlin says his choice to make Mitch Trubisky starting quarterback was based on his outstanding reputation on the field and great leadership.
Mitch Trubisky is our starting quarterback and our captain. Man, we're just really comfortable with what Mitch has shown us. He took the Bears to the playoffs 2 out of 4 years. He has a winning record as a starting quarterback. Those things were attractive to us. His athleticism and mobility were attractive to us. He took care of the football in stadium.
The Steelers' depth chart originally listed Kenny Pickett as quarterback 3. Tomlin says it was a clerical error, and he has since been moved up to quarterback 2.
That's how the depth chart was listed at the start of training camp, so the cut and paste component was the cut and paste component. Really pleased with the growth and development of Kenny. That's why he's listed as #2.
Coach Tomlin says he does not plan on dressing 3 quarterbacks for their game against Cincinnati. And for the start of the season, he says he's up for the challenge. Reporting from the South Side with the Steelers for Black and Gold Today, I'm Ashley Kaiser.
Thanks, Ashley. On Wednesday, the Steelers restructured the contract for pass rush specialist TJ Watt and freed up nearly $7 million in new cap space ahead of the 2022 regular season. Now the focus is on Week 1 as we're on to Cincinnati. The challenge for the Steelers in Week 1 is steep, going up against the defending AFC champion Bengals on the road. It's also a chance for quarterback Mitch Trubisky to reinvent himself with a fresh start.
It's always important. You want to start fast, so we want to go out there, and it's important in every game you get on the board first, just set the tone. The preseason preparation is what Trubisky says separates him from the rest of the pack as QB1 heading into the year. I had a really good camp. I came in here, a lot of experience, showed I could lead the team, showed I've been playing really well, throwing the football really well, so now we go out there and execute on the field. Even during his time with Buffalo a year ago, Trubisky kept his eye on that Bengals defense that brings back so much talent after making a run to the Super Bowl. I watch a lot of football just on film and then just following teams across the league, so they got a lot of guys back, obviously, with that Super Bowl run. Really good defense, a bunch of talented players, so we just got to have a good plan and focus on what we do well and go out and execute it. The Steelers will certainly find out what they're made of in the first AFC North matchup of the season to kick things off.
I think you've seen seen it. They're all high caliber receivers, and that's what makes a receiver group unique at this level. This week we're facing one of those groups where they have 3 guys that can win on every down, and the challenge obviously is minimizing their guys and competing.
It's tough challenge for us. We have to establish that we can stop the run, not only against the Bengals but football season, and that's what set the tone.
We didn't start fast, and I think that's just the main thing we got to do for this game is come out and start fast. And so I know when we do that on offense and defense, we can be successful. So I'm excited for it.
Finally, we turn to 2 of the best radio talents and personalities in the Pittsburgh market for their thoughts on Week 1. Here are Jeff Hathorn of the 93.7 The Fan and Tim Benz of DVE.
Just like last year, the Steelers are opening up on the road against an AFC playoff opponent from the year before. It's Cincinnati this year. It was the Buffalo Bills a year ago. The Steelers roughly an underdog of about a touchdown in both games, and they won the game outright to start 2021. One way they were able to do so, they were able to surprise Buffalo a little bit with some different looks and how their linebackers were deployed. But as Mike Tomlin pointed out, the big reason why special teams, the huge block punt against the Bills, maybe that could be a factor this year if the Steelers do win in Cincinnati as well. But I think the biggest issue for the Steelers, contain Joe Mixon early. Don't let him get loose. If they do, it's going to be a problem not only stopping him as the game goes along, but also figuring out a way to contain those 3 really good wide receivers that the Bengals have in the passing game of Joe Burrow. I think the Bengals win, but I wouldn't be surprised if the Steelers at least cover and maybe pull off another surprise like they did last year.
Yeah, it's eerily similar to last year in Buffalo, where Buffalo had all this hype, had all this momentum. They weren't in the Super Bowl, but it was a similar feeling, and the Steelers are going to need some kind of special plays that they had in Buffalo last year. That means something on special teams, something out of the ordinary that's going to turn it into their favor. I mean, gone are the days where you roll into Cincinnati and you got half the crowd in black and gold. They're going to be fired up, and the Steelers need to make sure they're able to establish that run, give them third and manageables for Mitch Trubisky, so that offensive line has to protect, has to at least do enough to keep Trubisky clean. If they do that, I do think their defense is enough to keep them in the game, but who's going to step up and make a play we don't expect? That's who to watch for on Sunday.
Still to come on Black and Gold today, we'll meet a special veteran who got a Steelers experience he'll never forget. Stay with us.
Hello, this is Ernie Mills, Steelers Nation. Hey, welcome. You're watching Black and Gold today.
It's time now for our fan sound off segment where we ask you, the fans, your thoughts and opinions of the Black and Gold.
That's right. Our Black and Gold Today correspondent Dee Chambers is back for another exciting season, catching up with several fans, getting their thoughts on this year's Steelers outlook.
It's Dee here. We're at the Renegade Tailgate. It's a new season. We got to go talk to these fans. We got to do the fan sound off. Let's go. All right, we got a couple guys here. One's already ready to go on the field here. But I want to know, what are your expectations for the new season?
17-0.
17?
17.
Okay.
Isn't that everyone's expectation when you start the season?
You know, aim high, aim high. I get it. What about yours?
Well, I'd say Le'Veon Bell said it best. Common goal is Super Bowl. You know, so hopefully that's the plan. But you know, we'll see what happens.
All right, we got a first timer here. First time at the stadium. What are your expectations for the new season?
Oh, I expect a Super Bowl. Go big or go home, baby.
So you have Super Bowl expectations?
Always. Every year. Always expectation. If you're a true fan, that's where we're going.
Who's your favorite quarterback?
Pickett.
All right.
Deontay Johnson. He's coming back. Everyone was doubting him. Let's do it, DJ.
I have to go with Pickens. I have to. He's a beast so far, and I expect him to do great things and have 1,000 yards this year for sure.
Thanks, Dee. As for our Black and Gold Today Fan of the Week, that high honor goes to Marine Corporal veteran Lance Corporal Pete Zayas of Claysville, Pennsylvania posts 639. Pete is a longtime Steelers fan, and he got to experience his first ever game in person last month in the final preseason game versus Detroit. He was blessed to share that day with his daughter Jen and fellow fans. Pete served in Vietnam and is battling Parkinson's disease due to Agent Orange. Recently, our very own Kent Urbanski met up with Pete and also others to share in this special experience, especially with a Steelers legend.
This year, I decided to do a disabled vet. I called Rocky Blyer up and talked to him, and I said, hey, I want to do, instead of a special needs kid, I want to do a disabled vet. Pete Zayas from Washington, PA, really good guy, disabled vet. He's so excited today. It's going to be a good day for him.
I feel like I'm in greatness. You know what?
The owner of the Yinzers he's going to give him a little shopping spree. He's going to walk around, give him some stuff. He's going to steal them up for the game.
Veterans deserve more than just about anybody else in this country because we wouldn't have the freedoms that we have.
Yeah, you see it back there. You know, it's wonderful to be able to share the excitement of the Steelers and to the fan base, but more importantly, with a fellow veteran and what we've gone through during that period of time of our lives.
I feel honored probably that everyone has looked to me for as far as my feelings towards the service people.
We're going to go to the greatest tailgate in the world, Renegade Tailgate, right in front of the Science Center. Delton Hall of the Pittsburgh Steelers, he's going to come. Then we're going to hang out. Dwayne Woodruff is going to come, and he's going to take us into the pregame, and he's going to escort us around the pregame until the game starts. Then we're going to go up to the club seats where my buddy Bill DeCenzo, he donates every year. Back when I was younger, I used to go, and it so excite me so much that I want them to have that same feeling, a life experience. That's what I like. That's why I do it.
What a great piece, and to all our servicemen and women out there, thank you very much. Well, we are very excited and pleased that Jessica Ryan is back with us for another season here on the Black and Gold Today.
And whether you are on the road or at home, Jess will share with us and with you some simple food dishes to share with your family and friends for game day. Here's what she has in store for week 1.
Welcome back, Steelers fans. I hope you had a great summer. It's been such a long off season, and I'm excited to see what the Steelers are going to put out on the field. I know what I'm going to be putting out in my kitchen, and it's going to taste delicious. We're going to start off our first game with Cuban Bites. You're going to need about a 1/4 pound of ham, about 3 pickle spears. I'm using dill. This is Swiss cheese. You're going to use about a 1/4 cup, maybe even 1/2 cup, some stone ground mustard, about a tablespoon, and then we're going to do a dozen, so wonton wrappers, and those are available in your organic section in most grocery stores. You're going to want to chop the pickles and the ham up almost in similar sized bites. So we're going to start with the ham, and you're going to want to chop them into bite-sized pieces, nothing too thick. Next, we're going to dice up the pickles in about the same size bites. You're going to cut them up. They're going to be about the same size as those ham pieces. And one more ingredient that I didn't put on the cutting board is cream cheese. That's what's going to bind it all together and make these a really good stuffing for these wonton wrappers. And now to assemble the wontons, you're going to need some parchment paper. You're going to start by spraying some oil on the parchment paper so they don't stick and laying out the wonton wrappers so that you're coating them on one side with the oil before we start assembly. You're going to take just a little bit of this stuffing, make sure there's pickle and ham in each bite, and set it right in the center. You're going to need a bowl of water, and all you're going to do is just dip your fingers in the water and line the outside of the wonton wrappers and put all 4 of those corners face up and just pinch along the rim. You don't even have to pinch hard, just apply a little bit of pressure and it'll stick right together because of that water. Take some cooking spray and just a couple sprays right on top of each one to make them crisp up real nicely. You'll bake them on 400 degrees for about 10 minutes. All right, they're done. They're a little crisp on top, and they are perfect. You want a little crunch to those. I'm so excited that football is back, and I'm so excited to be back on Black and Gold today, and I'm really looking forward to feeding my family and showing you guys some new recipes all year long. Go Steelers!
As always, it looks outstanding, and I don't know how she does it, but each and every week she continues to raise the bar in the kitchen.
No question about it. We'll be right back here on Black and Gold today. Don't go away. Much more coming up next.
Hey, Steeler Nation, this is Rocky Blair, and you are watching Black and Gold Today.
Welcome back to Black and Gold Today. As we approach kickoff in Cincinnati, we wanted to share with you our picks for Week 1. And Mike, over the course of the regular season, a terrible towel will be awarded to the best pick each week, and then we'll see who has the bragging rights by the end of the regular season. Let's take a look at those picks. And it comes as no surprise, all of us are going to go with the defending AFC champions at home in Week 1. We'd like to mention Sean Lafferty, our boss, is getting into the mix this year. And he made his pick, and he's going with the Bengals as well. Mike, your thoughts on why you're going with Cincinnati?
You got to go with the top quarterback in the division until he's proven not to be. Joe Burrow seems to be that guy. Joe Cool got into the Super Bowl. Hate to say it, Steeler Nation, but maybe it's too tough a task in Week 1 on the road.
You start to see a theme there from all of us, too. Might be 2, maybe 3 possessions that the Steelers' offense can generate some points. All of us like that offensive weapon power that the Bengals bring. Not to mention last year, I know it's a different roster, but they got out of the gates fast in Cincinnati a year ago. We'll see if the Steelers can pick up that elusive road victory to start the regular season. They did it last year in Buffalo. We'll see if they can do it in the Queen City in 2022. Finally, just a reminder, the Steelers will be making their regular season home debut next Sunday afternoon, September 18th versus the New England Patriots. Game time from Acrisure Stadium is listed at 1 p.m. Now, the last time Bill Belichick and company were in town was back in 2018, and that was certainly an interesting contest. Of course, that'll all kick off next Sunday, September 18th at 1 p.m. Mike, real quick, your final thought. What's going to be the key for the Steelers going into Week 1?
Could be pass protection, being able to generate the running game, a quick start on offense, and special teams, I think, in Cincinnati.
Keep an eye on all of that. And that does it for this edition of Black and Gold Today. From all of us here, have a great weekend and enjoy the game.
Thanks for watching. Join us next week for another edition of Black and Gold Today.